Hello again, Ben and Scott here for What Culture Gaming at Gamescom 2016. Behind us you can see WWE 2K17 with man of the moment, Stone Cold Steve Austin, according to our very own Peter Austin. Of course it's not, it's Goldberg, who is a pre-order bonus for this game. We've now played it, we've had a hands-on, but we wanted to tell you a little bit about how we found the game as we played it earlier on.
We played like about a half an hour-ish, got a good feel for it. We're going to play a lot more of it tomorrow, and we've got an interview coming with Bryce Young too. Who's like lead developer or a brand manager on the game. So we'll dive into a little bit more then. But
absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So firstly, we had very few options available to us. It was just a one-on-one match that we could pick from. It was Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, and AJ Styles were who we had available. Yep. And immediately noticeable was the fact that actually they don't use the pre-rendered artwork for the wrestlers now when you select them from the screen or from the loading screen either. They actually use the in-game models, which means if you play as a custom character,
you'll actually look like you belong now.
Exactly, it's not going to look weird or out of place or anything, which is quite a nice touch. And also there's some commentary over the loading screen saying, and now on Monday Night Raw, it's blah blah blah, taking on blah blah blah, which is also quite a nice touch, I thought.
That was like one of the things that they're sort of pushing, which they have been pushing for a few years now, is the whole simulation aspect versus the arcade thing. So in embracing the whole TV presentation of it, they try to make it so that the loading screens are less about loading screens and more like a sort of more natural segue between menus to action kind of thing.
Absolutely. And you could immediately notice on the way to the ring that the lighting has increased in quality. A lot of the models looking really good. And AJ Styles' entrance was, I think, probably the best one I've seen so far out of the stuff they've shown, just from the lighting aspect alone. It looked, it looks just like him. Like it's really impressive.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, they've got a whole thing. One of the new things that you can do is like create an entrance. So I think of all the sort of areas that they're putting a lot of focus on, the entrances themselves like need to be impressive right off the bat. So something like AJ's entrance, like we talked about Brock Lesnar's as well. So a lot of the character models have received quite a bit of improvement. And like Lesnar looks incredible, AJ looks great. A lot of the pyro looks fantastic. Some of the guys from NXT, or used to be on NXT, like Finn Balor look great too. So they've done quite a lot of work with the entrance stuff. It's pretty good.
And the breakout action that was in 2K16 is still there, so you can jump out the ring and just beat the crap out of your opponent if you want before they arrive, which is quite nice. I noticed that when I started, I threw Seth Rollins straight out the ring to the side by the barricades, and it instantly switched to a fixed camera view that you would normally see on the TV show, which was quite a nice change rather than the top-down eagle view that there's a bit unnatural. Again, you say moving more towards the sim side and being as realistic as possible, which was great, but was a little bit confusing to begin with. Like it threw me a bit, and I couldn't work out which way to Irish whip people and that sort of stuff.
That was the thing. It reminded me of old Resident Evil. It was just sort of like the camera switches, and then like suddenly right is down and down is right. Like whatever. You'll totally get used to it, but at the same time, the first time it happens to you, you're just sort of like, if you're in the middle of a particular animation or whatever, it is a little bit disconcerting. So it's something to sort of like, I don't know, watch out for.
Absolutely. As we mentioned in our features video, the chain wrestling has now gone. It is there, but it's not mandatory anymore. So
you don't have to cheering from here. It's just like making chain wrestling optional. It's like not every superstar has to do it. And in the match that I was in, when I played as AJ, he didn't have to.
Did you just run and punch him straight away?
Oh, actually no. I ran in on Ambrose.
Yeah,
so
that's exactly
maybe
what
I got around it that way.
Yeah.
But some wrestlers don't have to do it. So
that's how little time we have for actual wrestling. We're so impatient, we just jump and just start beating them up. Apart from that, the submission system has changed as well. Unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to try the alternate submission system, which we're still not too clear on what that is exactly.
It seems like they've kept the UFC one, it's sort of cribbed from the UFC games. You've kind of got that system is still intact, but they've tightened it up a bit, and there is an option for that, like an optional alternative, but we're yet to see what that is. So you can kind of stick to the one that you know, or there's something else that's going to be in there too, but we're yet to know exactly what that is.
Yeah, exactly. And we gave the one that was in last year a go in this year's one, and it does seem like they've cleaned it up a bit. It does seem a little bit easier to use, a little bit more fluid, and I think that's only going to benefit things.
Yeah, of course. They've added another mini game for Money in the Bank as well, which is just like it's sort of this little countdown timer, and you kind of share it. Like if I like burn it down, and then you take me off or whatever, you can resume from where the meter was already ground down to. So you can sort of like steal the match. There's little improvements like that, little mini games that they've added in to keep it fresh, which is quite cool.
Yeah, and I think the whole match played out pretty much as I was expecting it to. I don't know what difficulty they had it on, but Seth Rollins really didn't get too much offense in on me. I know I'm pretty good with the counter system anyway. Right. I know you still had some issues with it.
We need the counter system. If you really never got the hang of it from last year, and I honestly never did. I never got used to the timing windows on it. It always felt way too tight. And I'm someone who's played a lot of hard games and like very tight specific games like Super Meat Boy or whatever else. And they've pretty much kept the same counter system from last year, or to me at least it feels like they have. I was still just watching for the prompt and missing it, or and I couldn't really get the hang of it. I mean, that might just be because I've not played anywhere near as many of the games as you, but I got pasted by Ambrose. He beat me, so I just like...
Well, he is the world heavyweight champion.
I would totally know that because I'm watching. I don't know at all.
Look at this guy.
Either way.
He knows his stuff. That's why we brought you.
Yeah. If it's not Attitude Era and it's not like here comes I got off the train. I got off the Here Comes the Pain train.
Oh, here comes the train pain.
Yeah.
Train pain.
Either or. Yeah. That was when I abandoned ship. But yeah.
Yeah. One thing I will note though is, and I don't know if it was just the build we were playing, because I know, to be perfectly fair, and we want to be honest with you, they did have some issues with the build earlier in the day, which might account for why this was happening, so I'm not entirely sure, but there seemed to be quite a significant amount of slowdown when you went for the pin. There was a notable, for me, 1 or 2 seconds before the ref actually started counting, and even then, he counted really slowly.
Yeah.
And that really, it took me out of the experience a little bit. I'm hoping that was just because they were having some teething issues with it.
I think that's more related to the fact that a few people said that the pinning little mini game where you've got to like get the timing window right, one of the complaints with that was that it was too specific, and a lot of people want to do the whole thing where you kick out at the very last minute, and it was just nigh on impossible to do that, even if you were playing as guys that felt like they should be able to kick out. So I wonder if they've made that window way wider and made the ref count slower, so it's easier to like do those like big like holy shit kind of moments. That would be my take, but I could be wrong. But that's how I read that. I don't know.
So we're still yet to find out more information about what improvements have been made to my career and my universe. We're going to find out more from Bryce Yang tomorrow, hopefully, when we have a word with him. But for now, at least, I just want to leave you with the piece of information that the soundtrack executive producer is Puff Daddy, which obviously is massively important. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, we didn't get to hear any of his master chosen tracks.
It could be brilliant.
But you don't know. Anyway, that's all we've got for now for you. Thank you very much for checking out our WWE 2K17 content. For more Gamescom 2016 stuff, keep it locked to What Culture Gaming. I'm Ben, this is Scott. Thank you for watching.
Cheers.
So there we go, that's all the content we've got for you on WWE 2K17 for now. Make sure you check back to What Culture Gaming for all stuff from Gamescom 2016. I'm Ben, this is Scott. Thank you very much for watching. What's Peter doing? Peter!